And is there, like, should I be looking in a certain direction, or is just...
But the camera right there, but you look at the camera, you look at me.
Oh, okay.
All right, you're tuned into the Bankedoutt Radio Show. I'm your host, Andreas, a.k.a. Discover This. And that was that Bumpman adding flavors. So make sure y'all go out there and support your independent artists because, that's what we all about. But we have a special guest for everybody who wants to tune in. You can do so 917-889-8043. And make sure y'all go and like the Facebook page as well, Bankedoutt Radio Show in the search box. But I have Miss Angel, who is the founder and owner of exclusive Browz and Lash Bar. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Miss Angel, thank you, one, for taking the time out, your busy schedule to come and be on the show. But for everybody who's going to check out this interview online later on, and then for all the listeners out there, because people go back and listen to it as well, give us a little bit history about why you got started and what really inspired you to, open up your own shop.
Well, I've always been a fan of makeup. Since I was very young in high school, I was doing my friends and family makeup then. And basically, when I was in college, I did it to get through to make money on the side. And I started really seeing a spark as far as the numbers. And I said, I wonder if I could really make this work. And I just prayed on it and talked to my mom and my grandma, family members, and they said, if there's something that you're really passionate about, then just go out there and attempt. And I've always had an entrepreneur spirit. I actually started my first business at 21. Okay. I opened up a boutique as far as selling accessories. Okay. Flew to New York, got all the products, and shipped it back to Atlanta, where I'm from. And
Like Atlanta or Metro Atlanta?
No, Atlanta. Because
I
know real Atlanta.
I worked up there when I worked at Norfolk Southern, and everybody claim Atlanta.
Right.
But I'm like, Atlanta got so many cities that's around it.
A lot of counties all around it. But no, I'm from Fulton County.
Okay.
Inside of the perimeter. A lot of people say they're from Atlanta, but the true city is inside of the perimeter, which is the circle around downtown. Everything else is outskirts. Yeah. So, I did that, and it was doing okay, but it didn't work out. And that was my actual first business that I actually went and got my business license, EIN, all of that, everything together. Yeah. So, basically, from that point, I was in school, and I just said, you know what, I really want to do this. And I stepped out there. I actually took my school check and got all the supplies and rented a space out, put the deposit on the space, and it just went up from there. And I started that about 2000, I want to say 2008 or 9 it was. Yeah, that I actually did that location. And from that point, this how I ended up where I am today.
So where'd you go to school at?
I went to Chattahoochee Technical College, and I stayed on campus at Southern Poly, which is in Marietta. It's one of the outskirts counties up there. Yeah.
So why since you're already in Atlanta, and the type of service that you do, some people might look at it as a luxury item or a luxury service. In Atlanta, is already prime and right for as far as the consumers, right? To be able to purchase from businesses and that do that type of service. Why Macon then?
Well, it's so funny that you asked that, because I'm not gonna say I never been to Macon, but as far as coming to Macon, it was only going through because I have family. My family's originally from Florida, so I always had to come 75 south from Atlanta. But as far as coming to the city, like just being here, I had never stepped grounds on anywhere in Macon. But the business that I had up there, the building, the lady, she had it go into foreclosure, and like all her tenants, we of course had to move. Yeah. So my ex at that time was like, well, just try to find something, because really the lease was very affordable. Atlanta is very hard to find something nice at a reasonable rate.
Yeah.
Everything is over the top. So,
well, because 5 million people now inhabit this city or whatever. So now it's like New York and Chicago and LA and all that or whatever. So those prices are jumping.
Exactly. So he was like, just try the outskirts, like you were mentioning. A lot of people say from Atlanta. So I was looking around like Stockbridge, Cobb County, different areas, and I just couldn't find anything. So I was Googling places, and a spot here in Macon popped up on the Google search. And so I told him, I said, you know what, it's only an hour at that time from where I was staying. So I said, maybe an hour and 15, no more than an hour, 20 minutes if it's no traffic. So I came down and I looked at the spot, and I went around to Walmarts that are here and a couple other stores, and I just was looking at the women, and I'm like, because in Atlanta, your brows are always going to be done. I mean, you won't see many women who don't keep their self up, period, but you'll look at them and their brows and their lashes, they're done. So I'm looking around, I'm looking at the women, I'm like, people are looking nice, but they don't have the brows done. So I asked a couple people just to see what they were going to say. And I said, where can I go to get my eyebrows done? And it was like nail shop, nail shop, nail shop. Everything was nail shop. So I'm like, it's no spots other than the nail shops. And, no one had any recommendations. So I said, oh, wow, this is something else. So I called my grandmother and I told her, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to open up in Macon. I said, because they don't have anyone doing what we do up here. And I asked one lady, I said, I had my brows done. And she said, when I asked her where to go, she said, well, where do you go to get like what you have on already? And I said, well, I actually did them myself. And she said, wow, really? And I was like, yeah. So I just told my grandma, I said, I'm going to open up down here. I said, and I know it's a smaller city. I know I don't know what the income brackets could be, all of that. I said, but I got a feeling that this is a niche here for this. And she said something that stood out, and I'll never forget what she told me. She said, "There's nothing wrong with being a big fish in a small pond." And from that point forward, I looked at the spot, talked to the owner, put down the money. I went and did everything the same day. Came back to Atlanta and started drawing up my plan. And it was just over from there.
What year was that?
That was December 2010.
Wow, so
and
7 years.
7 years later, I'm still here and expanding on top of that.
That's what I'm talking about. That's dope. One, I like the fact, I love meeting other entrepreneurs. And the fact that, you jumped out there and, you really went for it. Because a lot of people just talk, What do you think was the main difference between you just talking and you actually walking?
I've always been a walker. My family, I know I told you my first business was at 21, but in between that time frame, I did a lot of little things. Like they knew I was always trying to do this or do that as far as being an entrepreneur. It's just been in my blood. My father is an entrepreneur. My grandfather is an entrepreneur. Like I was around people who had and made it successful, so I knew it was possible. Yeah,
so you had a blueprint, or at least you saw it. I think a lot of people probably don't get to see it.
Yeah.
So you seeing it, there was extra, in your head, and that was you accustomed to taking risk and hearing about it, and it translating as you got older. As far as your services, so you do eyebrows, makeup, and there was something else.
And lashes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I do all of that. I'm actually an esthetician as well, so I'm a licensed esthetician.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I saw some of your photos and I saw people, they got on the little hat, little garment or whatever, say someone's being prepped for surgery.
Right,
That's what it looks like. And I'm like, hold up.
Yeah.
She's certified as something because, all these
straight
other
legitimate.
people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because, I've interviewed other people and I know other people who do, eyebrows or whatever, but their work doesn't reflect what your work reflects.
Okay.
So I know there's a difference because you're showing people, with all this stuff on or whatever, and all these other people are not.
Right.
So since you said you've been doing this since 2010, and you was probably the first one to open up a shop like this in the city, or the successful one?
I would say more of one of the successful ones. I have heard of different things that was going on before I started, but as far as that's still standing, I don't really know of many that's like how we have it going technically.
So what do you feel that what has contributed to your success in your mind? Or what has people been telling you?
I think that the biggest thing besides my faith is consistency. And I've really realized, and even myself, we all have to reflect on, when we're entrepreneurs, the growth that we have, because what today, just like with what you have going on, like if you look back 5 years ago, there's a lot of things that you've learned from that time frame. And I reflected basically on myself, and I can see that this business venue that I have going on, this venture, I have been consistent. With being an entrepreneur, there's not going to always be, high days. There's going to be days where it's kind of in the middle. There's going to be low days. It's just a part of the game. It's like you're not going to. It's the inevitable, basically. So I can only say and recommend. And I know for a fact that being consistent is what really made this possible.
Yeah, because I'm glad because I harp on that all the time. I tell people all the time, like, that's one of my things, especially because I do business consultations, marketing, promotion, all that stuff.
Wow.
And I tell people and businesses all the time, and business owners, I'm like, look, you got to be consistent. That's why people will feel that they can trade that dollar or whatever, because some people will, like, you'll open up shop, some people will come to you. Some people will know about you when those other people went to you, but they're not going to do business with you because they want to know that you're going to be there and to give up that dollar, and they don't want to have to go through and find another relationship with another person and lose that trust there. So you have to be consistent. And I think that's like one of the top 5 reasons why people do not succeed in what they want to accomplish, because they're not consistent.
Yep.
And they want to put in that work. But we're going to jump into some music real quick. And anybody out there, you want to, you can dial in if you got questions, 917-889-8041. But let's get into Bumpman again with Check. It's Bumpman with Check, and we are back. And in studio, we have Miss Angel, who is the owner of exclusive Browz and Lash Bar. So I guess as far as, picking a name, you just want straight, no questions whatsoever. So people get it.
Yeah, that's something I learned because when I was in school, it was for business, and that was one project we had, and the teacher really was like, don't have the name so far-fetched that they have to wonder, what is this?
The KISS model.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right. Exactly. So I thought back to that when I named it. I'm like, okay, let me get concrete what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as like your business, is it more repeat or new customer acquisitions, or how is that for you?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because I have a lot of repeats, but I also have a lot of new people, because one thing about the beauty industry is when a woman sees something beautiful, whether it's looking at the woman's face or what they have on, the first thing they're going to say is, where did you get that? So it's really easy to get referrals because they're walking billboards all around town. So yeah. Okay.
I did have a question about your service. I was looking at some of the photos, and it's permanent brow.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is the new trend. It's really, really hot. It's something that I'm tapping into now. It's actually big overseas, like in Europe and Russia. It's real heavy. It's like normal over there. But I think mostly here in the States, it's about 10 years old. It's about 25 years old over there.
Okay.
So I'm tapping into it. And basically what it's called is the Magic Ombre Brows. It's similar to getting, like, for instance, there's different layers in the skin. Like if you get a tattoo on your body, that tattoo can go down to the second layer. That's why it's there forever. You know, you can't, wash it off. This is softer. It goes just under the first layer, and we use a organic pigment. So we don't use a tattoo ink. So when it heals, it's like a very powdery finish. So it's just like a natural feeling like what I offer now, except that it's permanent. So yes, that's.
But they have to come and do touch-ups though, right?
Yes. Usually, what happens is you'll get your initial service, and then 6 to 8 weeks we'll do another retouch, and after that you won't need it again until about 8 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's very high.
So is that like a service you really want to do though? Because don't you want people to just keep coming back? Or
I really want to do it. It's a whole different money scale for this service.
Okay. Well, hey.
Yeah. So it's
definitely dollars.
Right. It's definitely worth it, but it's never ending. I'm actually traveling with it as well, so it's not like I have to just say, okay, Macon, Georgia, Middle Georgia. Like this is worldwide. I have my Instagram. I have a good following with me doing Browz, so I have women from Chicago. New York, different places have already inquired about, do I ever come there? So it's exciting for me.
It's definitely dope. I like the fact that, you having all these inquiries and stuff, because I think when I was looking at your page has like 5,000 something likes or something.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I built a lot of I'm not going to even say a lot of it, all of it through social media. I mean.
So no formal advertising or campaigns or anything like that?
No. Social media built it.
That's great.
Yeah, that's how I did. Because you have to remember, like, when I started this 7 years ago, I didn't know anyone. No one knew me because I'm not from here. I don't have family here, friends here. It was all based off of just...
How was that then? Because I know, because I'm not from here.
Oh, okay.
And initially, when you bring something, like, when I brought... my first company was Bankedoutt Entertainment, and I was in college at Fort Valley State. And it's music promotions. The artists around here didn't even really understand music promotions. They didn't understand the marketing side of promoting the music because they were still trying to get the sound side down or whatever. So it was like, it wasn't received as I thought it would have been received. How was it you providing this service to individuals?
Well, fortunately for me, they did receive it very well. Okay. The first day of being open, I got customers. And really, at that point, I had to build relationships. And like I tell you, the consistency is the key because, like, for instance, last week I had someone that I haven't seen in 5 years, but she knew that she came to me before and she tried to come back to, get a service done, and I was there. So it's just like you just don't never know, and this lady, I didn't see her for 5 years, not because she didn't want to come, but because she actually moved from Macon. So she moved to Texas, and she had circumstances where she had to move back, but I'm here, so it's always been received well. I mean, I really can only say that I'm just grateful because one good thing I can always say is good work travels.
Yeah. When
you are giving people 100% of what you're offering, whether it's a service, a product, whatever it is, if you're doing them right, they're going to come back. They're going to talk about it. They're going to send people. So I really can say that I've kept and built relationships with my clientele.
Yeah. Okay. So I look at what you do and what beauticians and stylists and all those do. I don't know what your business model for your business is, but I feel that it's a cap as far as income because you only have so many hours of the day and so many clients that you can see.
Right.
Do you have a situation where you're taking, because you have enough experience now, I would think that you could have an apprentice or something like that and really build a company, or do you already have that in place?
Yep, I have that in place as well. Actually, I have two other ladies with me
Okay.
that I've built as far as training wise, and gave them everything as far as the technique, teaching them everything that I know so that they can do as good as well. And I've been fortunate to have two great ladies with me that one has been there over a year now, and the other one's going into a year.
Okay.
So I'm really big about helping women and building, because a lot of times I realize that, how we was talking about earlier, people talk about doing this, talk about doing that, but they don't ever get started. And I see that so much. So I'm really big on trying to create what's the word I want to use for it? Just kind of like mentoring, as far as just giving people that push, because even I needed that. There was different people in my life in the beginning that helped me get to where I am, and I just feel like, we have to help one another.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't see that unity, especially in my community. And I just really want to help break that cycle, because one thing I realize is this: I could give you the whole plan. I can give you I could teach you the whole game.
Yep.
But if you don't want to go out there and play it,
Exactly.
it's not going to change. And at the end of the day, what's for me is going to always be for me. So you could take everything I tell you, but don't think that, if you're not going to be active and play the game, you're going to be able to win.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of, to me, it sounds like you're a hard worker, you're a go-getter, and you have that drive. A lot of people don't, have that drive. They have the ambition, but they don't, or not the ambition, but they have the desire, but they don't have the drive to match it or whatever. Because everybody can dream and want and want and want.
Yeah.
But until you put your feet to the fire, you got to go out there and make it happen.
That's so true.
What are some pitfalls you've been able to overcome, or, anything you've been able to, even sidestep that new people getting into the game would, necessarily think that they're there?
What do you mean? Like
anything within your industry that you've experienced, even even if dealing with clientele, or appointment times, not double booking, or whatever the case may be. Anything that's there.
Little things that happen.
Yeah, trip ups.
Yeah, well, of course, there's a lot of things that with business is never ending with learning. I mean, there's no master PhD in business because there's so many levels to this. Yeah. And I've learned a lot of little things that kept the business going smoothly. Like, for instance, with me, I do walk-in only, because I realized that the appointment thing, it's great and all, but when one falls behind, it throws my whole day behind. And I can't hold up Susie over here for Jane, and Susie needs to get to work. Yeah. It's not fair. So I killed that, and I just said, you know what? Walk in. So you come in. When you come to my shop, you sign in, and we just go through the list. So that was one of the biggest things with me, because it was like trying to.
How was that with your customers,
happy.
though, as far as any regulars and stuff? Did they really reject that notion, or did they was like, okay, I understand?
Well, I had a few people that wasn't too pleased about it, but at the same time, one thing I realized is this: they want to come to you, they have to kind of ordained with your rules, you know what I mean? So
yeah, they got to play ball in your court.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything about it, but, they pretty much have to go with my flow, because this is how we operate. Yeah. And I lost a few maybe that wasn't pleased about it, but a lot of times when work is so good, people have no choice but to return, because they know what they're going to get, and they like it. And it's like, okay, well, I can't get an appointment, but, I just make sure I go when I have enough time to wait if I have to wait. Yeah.
So what's the highest number of clients you've seen in one day? And do you cut your hours of operation off at 8 or something, or working 8-hour days? Or
in the beginning, I would be there. I would get there soon as the doors open, and I would leave like till no one was coming through, basically, as long as I could. And I realized, and that's another thing about being an entrepreneur, like, you have to have balance. When you have a job, they're going to tell you, okay, we need you here at 8. You can get off at 5. You get your break at 12. Like, we have to do everything on our own. So I really had to have balance with that. And what I did was I created a set schedule, and I do have a cutoff time so that schedule can be met. So like we close at 7, then I'll slow down at 6:30, or I pull the book. Like if I know I have 3 people waiting, I'm not going to keep that book to 7 because that's going to push me over. So I try to balance it out and make sure, we get out of there at a decent time.
Okay. So what? Let's get to phone lines real quick. See if anybody wants to talk. You recognize this number?
I think so.
Okay, let's see if this caller on top. Hello, caller. 464. Number, you on the air?
Hi, I wanted to know if I'm going to start a new business, what would you recommend would be the first thing I should do?
Okay, well, the first thing that I definitely recommend is that you do a business plan, because a lot of times, and I know I have done it in the past, you will jump out there to do whatever the business venture is, and instead of sitting down writing out the business plan, which will help you with the roadblocks and prepare you for them, you just want to make sure you do that first so that you can actually have a actual plan and detail map out. That's what I really look at a business plan, is like your roadmap to success, because you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish.
No, my input with that is I agree with you saying, but I necessarily don't agree with the actual business plan, because it's a breathing document. Living, breathing document, so it's going to change, and everything that you do, it's not going to be the same anyway when you apply that. It's all based on theories and guesstimations and stuff. Now, what I will say is that you have you have stuff written down that you want to accomplish and things of that nature. But I know how to write a business plan from scratch, from the beginning and SWOT analysis, all that stuff, marketing, everything that goes into pricing points and all that stuff or whatever. I'm like, business plans are only used to really get loans. Now, if you want to go and get loans, people have to be able to critique your ideas or whatever and see whether or not they're feasible, which I get that part. But if you're going to self-finance your business, and this is just my perspective, not to say that what you said was wrong. Right. This is just my perspective. Man, just have your agenda. Like, write your goals down and then break down your goals into smaller steps. And then just go off of that alone, because it's going to change anyway after about a year or 2 years anyway. Right. I definitely agree with that. I just feel like structure has to be there, because when you jump, that's just like if you jump in a 12-foot pool and you don't know how to swim, it's inevitable. I definitely get that. I get the structure part, because even with writing down stuff, there's still structure to it. Right. But as far as the detailed structure that a business plan requires, I'm like, if you go back and look at the history of a lot of these different companies, people started with an idea and they went out there and they started executing that idea, and then they learned along the way. And you're still going to have the learning curve, because there's no way around that, because it's something you've never done. Right. So no matter how prepared you think you are, you're still not prepared. And then the numbers are off anyway.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Everybody's numbers are heavily underfunded anyway. So if you think you need $1 million, it's really going to take $1.5 million.
Right. Exactly.
But definitely a good question. Carl, you have any more for her? Well, you need to make a profit after the 5th year, because the IRS is going to look at it as a hobby. You won't have no business anymore. by the IRS rules. Oh no! You gonna be in a hole the first couple of years until you can turn it. And especially if it's something that you have to educate the clients about. In my experience, if you're bringing something new to the market that's not already there, people are not going to see the value in it, and then you're not going to really be able to set your price point to the price that you need to set it at those first couple of years anyway, until you start building up the demand. So once you build up that demand, then you can adjust your price to where it's higher. Then you can start making your money. But yeah, your first couple of years, you're going to be eating noodles and all that sorts of stuff. But I can tell you, once you hit that turning point and you start making that money and you stay consistent with it, like she says, it will get easier year after year, and you'll get your security and your time back, as long as you got a process set up for it.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. You're welcome.
You're welcome. But let's see here. What I was gonna go into, like you were saying earlier, in everybody coming together, especially in our community. You said you've been well received. Are you well received within, I guess, the women as well? The black women, are they supporting or?
Right. Oh yes, most definitely. They really support. They really do. I can definitely say that. I mean, even among the other beauty industry women, professionals in the industry here in Middle Georgia, I get a lot of referrals, and I also throw out referrals as well. I just feel like it's, a lot of times it's always labeled competition, and people feel like that, but to me, it's more than enough money for everybody.
I say that all the time. This, because this area, people like I dislike when people say there's no money here in Macon. I'm like, I don't know what you got to do it, but I pay my bills every month, so
Right.
Excuse me. I don't understand why they say that, but I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier. There's no consistency, and then they don't know what they're doing. Then their limited vision. You not being from here, you took your thinking in Atlanta and being exposed to all that that you were exposed to, and you brought it down here. Most people, I guess in the smaller city, or some people have the small mind mentality or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that plays a big role in the growth of the city too, Middle Georgia, period, because there's when people come to the shop and get a service, they're not just there being mute, We're discussing things, just like I'm pretty sure when you go to the barbershop, how the guys are discussing things. And there's so many wonderful, great ideas that a lot of these women have. And a lot of times, like I said, they don't even get it going, or they don't stay consistent with it. It's like they don't understand and grasp the concept, and they have wonderful ideas. And I think that hinders a lot. Like you said, people feel like no money here, but when you open up a business and no matter what it is, it doesn't have to be anything in the beauty industry. I'm saying it could be a club, restaurant, clothing line, designer, whatever it could be. It puts money in the economy. It grows the area. That's how things, become. So I just feel like if more people would actually start up these companies and start up their ideas and bring more things here, then, more money will circulate the area.
Yeah.
Because just like Atlanta is a big city, but all those cities, counties around there, they all working with each other, because if you live in Fulton, the mall you might love might be in Marietta, so it's just like here, like Middle Georgia has a lot of little counties. So like, let's just say if you're in Bibb County, which is Macon, and you want to go to Warner Robins, it's still right there, you know? So it's just, I think more people need to open up those dreams, like really let's, grow this area, because it's so much, and it's so much land here. Atlanta is like saturated.
Yeah, it is.
It's really saturated, and people don't understand, like, it's so much opportunity here. It's just so much.
That's what I say all the time. There's a lot of opportunity here. But as far as that, you know, you said you had plans to expand. So what do you plan on expanding into? And, you know, what do you have down in the pipeline that you can let us know?
Well, I definitely have some big things coming with my Magic Browz.
Okay.
I actually, some big things coming with that, so they can definitely stay tuned for that. I'm getting a good response with it. And it's, like I said, it's so new in this country, period. So somewhere like middle Georgia is so foreign, you know, like if it's just popping in Atlanta or New York, big cities, it's super foreign to the smaller cities. So it's like, you know, it's just like how when I started here doing the Browz, it wasn't foreign, but it was foreign, if that makes sense. It's like
it does.
they see it on TV, they see people, you know.
But they haven't seen it in person.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, wow. So it's like a wildfire, you know what I mean? Like it spreads like a wildfire. It truly does. So I'm just thankful and I'm grateful. And I'm just really ready to, you know, get this thing rolling just like I did with Exclusive Browz and Lash Bar.
Okay. So any new people out there, when they hear this and when they watch the video, if they want to, you know, contact you, what's the best way to contact you? And also, where's the store?
Well, we're on Eisenhower, right across from the Macon Mall. But all my contact information or wanting to get in touch with me is basically through social media. I have everything on there, number, address, everything. Or you can even just directly inbox me on there or direct message on Instagram. But I have Facebook. I have a fan page, which is Exclusive Browz and Lash Bar. And then I also have Instagram, which is Angel the Brow Guru.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can find me through either one of those.
Okay. And you said you're on Eisenhower?
Yes, on Eisenhower. It's 3760 Eisenhower Parkway.
Let's see where this is at. Where is 376?
It's literally directly, like if you're at the Macon Mall, it's across the street. So it's closer to, I think that street is Eisenhower and Bloomfield Road, I believe that's the name of that street. Where it meets.
You're inside that plaza?
Yes, You know where it's right there inside
the
indoor flea market.
Flea market.
Yeah,
okay.
Right there. It sits like right those streets that connect. You can even go through where the technical college is, Central Georgia. You can go through that way too, because there's a light where Lowe's and Applebee's splits. So yeah, it's right there.
Oh, you got some more people. So let's see if you want to, you know, talk and everything.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we got some more callers. The 207 number, 404. You got any questions?
Okay. Well, one thing about it, like I had said in the interview earlier, when you have an idea or you're starting a business, you can't worry so much about who's going to do it or who's already doing it. You really just have to have a plan and stay consistent and focus through your plan and what you're doing. There's always going to be competition because just like McDonald's came first, then you see Wendy's, you see Burger King, you see Checkers. Whenever someone sees a avenue to make money, the cycle of opening or duplicating that again is always going to be, I think the call.
Yeah, you dropped off.
Oh, okay. But basically, you know, like I was saying, it's always going to happen. You just have to pretty much stay focused when it comes to that.
Let's see, go to somebody else. 904 area code 654 number. You have any questions?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yes, I want to know what do you recommend when trying to start a business?
That's an open-ended question. Anything specifically, or?
I mean, like, I'm interested in Browz as well, so I want to know, like, where to start.
Oh, okay.
Should I try to make a website, or should I
Okay. Well, I definitely want to say I wish you much success with this. It's a great industry. But I definitely would get everything in line as far as your website, your social medias, because that's going to really help you reach more people. You definitely want to have, your cards, your flyers. And pretty much from that point, you can even tell family and friends, that you're opening up something and get them to be models for you, to advertise. You can start off by doing that with them. And like I was saying, a lot of times your clients are just walking billboards. So if you do, some of your friends, when they go to work or school or church, wherever they may have to go, and if their stuff is nice and on point, it's going to start building. And you could do even a referral program as well to really jumpstart it, because you can give them an incentive to tell people.
Okay. That's good. Okay. I'll put that in mind. Thank you so much.
You're
Very
welcome.
Oh, look at that. Got the phone lines jumping. But definitely, I like everything that you're saying. Anything that you want to promote, you're definitely welcome to. Come back on. You got a platform.
Okay.
Any new exclusives you want to bring. But let the people know one more time about social media, just so we can put it out there again.
Okay, yes. You can find me on Facebook, and the fan page is Exclusive Browz and Lash Bar. And you can also find me on Instagram at Angel the Brow Guru.
All right, and do you have any last words for the people that you want them to know? Anything you want to leave them with?
Just want to leave that if you have any dreams, have any goals, or any type of plans to open any business, just go for it. Just try it out, because one thing about it, you won't know until you try. And I want to also thank you all for having me on here today.
Oh,
as
you're
well.
welcome. You're welcome. Hey, like I love highlighting people like yourself, especially you're out there doing something. You could be out there in the community and just polluting it like some other people, but you're not.
Right.
You're being an inspiration to everybody, not just women, but men too. And you're showing people that you can go out there and move from one location to a totally different city,
Right.
and be able to live out your dreams.
Yep.
So definitely keep pushing that. We're gonna keep pushing you. I'm gonna promote, and now I have another referral source to send people to. So I have a lot of people come in contact with me, and if they need their eyebrows done, because you do both. You do both sexes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
I do any color with the green money the bank takes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
It's all great. So definitely,
fine.
thank you for coming through, and we're gonna keep shouting you out. This is the owner of Exclusive Browz and Lash Bar, Miss Angel. So y'all make sure y'all go and look her up on Facebook and Instagram. Follow, support, try our services out. Give everybody that has a small business a chance, because they are the ones that can actually impact the community.
Right.
But we got another guest going to come in here shortly, but we're going to hit y'all with this Gold Mine by Billy Sloan.